Hello, people. What's going on? The Armoury TV is back after the weekend. Lots of exciting news to share with you. Craziness going on in the Euros as well. With but yeah, I think we've got a lot of exciting news. There's been a lot of developments over the weekend with Arsenal. I've decided to obviously have James back on the show today. I thought that our talk went pretty well on Friday. So, we are going to run through some of today's stories and gather your thoughts as always. People, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe buttons. Follow the FTB Sports family. We've got the Armoury launch, the Armoury TV launch officially happening on Wednesday. We've got a fun-filled show ready for you there. We've got guys from the Man United agenda on. We're going to be debating what shouldn't be a debate. Who was the better baller, Vieira or Roy Keane? So that promises to be exciting. I'll be bringing a host of transfer stories to you regarding Arsenal every other day this week around the 7 o'clock mark. So what I wanted to discuss with James first, I think we will go straight to this story, which has been picking up some pace this weekend. And particularly last night, the early hours of today as well. Nuno Tavares, this is Fabrizio Romano breaking this story. Incredibly reliable source, as we all know, for all of the teams, really, all of the latest news. He is reporting that Arsenal are keen on Nuno Tavares of Benfica. We're looking to open with an offer of 7 to 8 million, and that there is a price tag of 15 million euros with add-ons and interesting structure. Work in progress on personal terms as well. Contract until 2026. He hasn't quite given it the "here we go" stamp of approval that he usually goes with. But James, I want to take your lead on this because I'll be honest, I've not watched a great deal of
Yeah, sure. I'm in the same boat as you, to be honest. I haven't really seen him. He played against us, I think, in the Europa League last season in the second match. I think he came on as a substitute, I believe. But apart from that, I've not heard of this player before. Going back to our previous show on Friday, we discussed the potential backup to Tierney, and we said about Mitchell from Crystal Palace, but some of a younger profile that me and you both agreed on, that we want someone to back up Tierney but develop and then maybe push Kieran Tierney. And I think, he's 21 years old. From what I've seen on Twitter and what I've done a little bit of looking online once, because as you said, it came at like midnight last night, 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why I was awake, but I was. So just was scrolling through, and he seems pretty promising for me. And I think he's the similar mold to Kieran Tierney, not in terms of his skill set, but in terms of the fullback itself. I think he's I'm going to get the ball and I'm going to run with it. I'm going to attack you and keep pushing you back and back and back like Kieran Tierney does. So, I mean, from what I know of the guy, and it's very little, it seems like a decent signing. Obviously, we're not trying to outlay that much money, I think, especially in backup positions and for the age profile. And as I said, the cost, if it's going to cost us 7 to 8 million euros, so like 5 to 6 million quid for a 21-year-old Portuguese left back, I think it's good business. Plus, we all know how good Benfica are at producing young Portuguese talent. Absolutely. Like, they've done it throughout. So fingers crossed, if we can get it, he's one of these gems that we haven't really heard of before, but can come in and just have an impact.
Yeah, and I need to watch a bit more of him. He seems to have a decent cross from what I've seen. Fairly good technician. I have reservations on him defensively from what I have seen.
Yeah.
That I will not pretend isn't a concern to me. For the money, a 21-year-old prospect from Benfica who do produce talented youngsters. A player that can be developed and molded. I think it's interesting. It's not the target that really stands out to me.
Yeah.
I'm really, really keen on Doig from Hibs, as I've made aware. I just think whilst the Scottish League isn't the English League, and I have to interrupt to say Morata has actually just scored.
Oh, damn, 4-3.
Actually decent goal as well. Properly decent goal, man. With his left foot as well. But yeah, like, as I was saying about Josh Doig, I just think whilst the Scottish League isn't the Premier League, you know, it's the same Ireland, you know, like the culture, the style of play of English and Scottish football, there's much more alignment than with Portuguese football, which is a lot more kind of technique based, a lot more, I just, that's what I worry about as well. You know, is he going to acclimatize as well to the Premier League as, say, a Doig could? And for the money, it's comparable. I think Hibs are quoting 5 million plus add-ons. You know, you could argue that Benfica is probably a higher level of football, you know, than playing European football as well. But yeah, I mean, look, we'll see. We'll see how that story develops. It seems like I've got a few of my TikTok followers that I was on a live with that have decided to hop on the YouTube show. It's great to see you, Johan. He did say, imagine if Morata scored the winner. And
he might.
It looks like he might have called it. It looks like he might have called it, but we don't know. This game has been absolutely crazy. Guys, I'm not going to pretend it's not on in the background, because it is, because it's been that interesting to watch. But we'll move on to the next story. So yeah, I think the one that I do want to discuss that I'm a bit more positive about, obviously we've both had our say on this player, but it's looking very positive. We all know what not turning up or being excused from training can mean in pre-season when there is transfer interest in you. It seems to me that all parties, player, both clubs, expect to get this deal done, to get this over the line. Anderlecht financially need to get this deal done. Anyone that knows about their financial situation would know that they do need to offload some players. And yeah, Arsenal definitely need to improve the quality in the areas of central midfield. And this is a guy that we've tracked, that we've been touted towards signing. I believe 15 million euros plus add-ons is what the deal is going to cost us. Anderlecht's captain, 21 years old, I believe.
Yeah, 21,
Yeah, so it's looking positive. I mean, do you think we should read too much into that? Oh my God, Spain scored again. Sorry to interrupt, but
5-3 Spain.
Crazy game, yeah.
Unbelievable. No, I mean, I think all the signs are there. As you know, what's been reported, he wants to come to Arsenal. We've submitted a bid and we've been talking to Anderlecht through, I think it's like 2 weeks now since we submitted that bid, maybe 10 days. And the discretion between what they wanted and what we wanted was always minimal anyway. Plus he was on holiday. He was away because he was in he was going to be in the Belgium squad, as you know, but then Atsu Witsel got fit somehow within 5 months of an ACL tear.
Incredible.
Crazy, I know, but so he was on holiday on the injury waiting list, hasn't been called up, so they didn't want to interfere with his time off. So I think it will line up, and it gets me excited, to be honest, because I was thinking this. I know it's not going to happen, but could you imagine if we had midfield options of Partey, Lokonga, Basuma, and someone like Renato Sanchez. Could you imagine the dynamism in that midfield? Like, I just thought of that because we've been linked to all of them. We're looking like we're going to sign Lokonga. Basuma looks like he's a very, very valid option, and Renato Sanchez is a bit of a maybe rumored, but not like anything concrete. So I was thinking about that yesterday after seeing him play against Belgium, and this guy is just incredible. So that's where my mind was at. So as soon as we can wrap up Lokonga, maybe go for Renato Sanchez or Basuma, and I think we have an incredible like powerhouse midfield. So that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, and I think there's a few things that you kind of drew on there that I think excite me as well. I think first of all, just on a more general kind of basis, it's always Arsenal that are dragging their heels. Like mulling over deals, interested in monitoring FC, lodged inquiries, lodged an interest, this, that, and the other. Yeah. You look at the nature of how Partey was signed last season. I know there was no preseason, but I personally think, they sat there and thought, this is the easy deal to be done, so it can wait. And I'm of the mind, like, no, just do it. Just get it done. You want to sign the player, so why mess around, look, of all the teams, we're usually the ones that are dragging our heels, taking long to get things done, trying to negotiate. I mean, I'm all for haggling and bartering, but it seems that at times Arsenal, it can be a bit excessive. What you said there about there not being a big difference in the valuation, our opening offer was only 3 million euros less than their actual asking offer. That's to me says that they know they want to get a deal done. It's going to be more, I think with this, it's more the structure of the deal than it is the price itself in the valuation. How it will be structured, the bonuses that they put together, how achievable they are, that they would have been hammering out. Personal terms would have been a done thing. He kind of instructed his agent not to even bother negotiations with Napoli and Atalanta. It's always good to steal a march on Napoli. We seem to be doing that quite a lot every summer. I think what you mentioned about midfield dynamism in general, I've said this so many times. I think if you look at, I've said it before, and some people that are watching might have heard me say this on the stream, and if they have, I apologize. But I don't want to compare us to Chelsea. But if you look at Chelsea and their successful era when they had Makelele in midfield and how high up the pitch that allowed Lampard to be, when Essien came in there as well, they had real dynamism, as you were saying, real purposeful ball winners that could both break into the box as well. So it wasn't like one of them was a CDM. It was like basically they were both told you could be a CDM and a box-to-box player. Basically, if Essien's traveling forward, Makelele, you sit, and vice versa. So you had this push-pull system, right, of two dynamic, powerful midfielders that weren't bad footballers either, technically speaking. Just all-round good footballing ability, good positional awareness, a lot of pace, whilst pace isn't everything. I think recovery pace in the Premier League and stamina for the way the modern game is played with the high press and the intensity that comes with that. What Chelsea did is they identified Kante when Leicester won the Premier League as an identical profile to Makelele. So if you look at the attributes that makes Makelele, what made Makelele a great player for me, it's all those things that I mentioned that Kante has in spades as well. Even down to them both being French and short and having that low center of gravity to allow them to pivot from one side to the other when they're making tackles, being strong in the tackle and being a hell of a lot stronger physically than their small and their slight would let you believe.
They're quite stocky, I think. It's like that's why.
If you look at Vieira, just very quickly to finish up on that. If you look at Vieira and our successful era,
and
his attributes, and you look at Bissouma, I'm not saying Lokonga is a Vieira in terms of his ability, but in terms of his profile and the way that he plays the game, from what I've seen, it's very similar, even down to him being a leader at Anderlecht, being their captain. So this is what I want to see Arsenal doing, like looking at who the next Henry could be. I don't like to use the next tags, but looking at people that emulate these attributes, we can bring back Arsenal to the ethos of Arsenal football. And
I think so. And I think what you said of the midfield pivot of you said Makelele and Essien. I mean, if you want someone, I'm not going to say the exact profile because he's not. I know Essien was a lot more accurate in his shooting, but obviously you have Thomas Partey, both Ghanaian, both big, strong, powerful, athletic midfielders. And I think the Bissouma signing, he's not the same profile as N'Golo Kante. And N'Golo Kante, for me, is a lot better defensively than Bissouma is. Just his numbers are outrageous. But from what I can see that Bissouma does, he's very good defensively, but it's not just his whole entire game. You've seen him, well, I've seen him, especially when he plays us, the amount of tackles he'll make, and then he'll grab the ball and he'll run with it 10 yards and then offlay it to somebody else, like Lallana, for example.
That's exactly
I think having that, as you said, that too, where Bissouma goes, Partey stays, Partey goes, Bissouma stays, that will be incredible. And especially with Lokonga as a backup, he's not the same profile as Partey or Bissouma, but he's got shades of both, which can allow us to put, I don't know, for example, if we get Maddison and then we get Neves, we now have shades of Bissouma, shades of Partey in Lokonga, so then we can have the different midfield options. And I think it's exciting, to be honest. And I know, sorry, going back to what you said about us digging our heels in with the transfer, but I think what's different with this one with Anderlecht is Arsenal know they need to sell, so they're in a weaker negotiating position. If they're going to want 20 million euros, for example, we're going to go, no, we're going to offer you 15. And then they might go, okay, well, we need 18. Okay, well, we'll offer you 16. And I think with this, we're doing it a bit smart because we know they need to clear the books because of the debt that they've got or the lack of income. And so I think overall it's going to be a very, very good signing.
Yeah, I think, I think that's what it is, 20 million euros with the add-ons. So I think it might be 15 million structured or, with some of it up front and the rest in add-ons. These are the sort of numbers that I'm hearing being touted. But I think that's a big thing, like to kind of look at when you were last a dominant force and look at what the hallmarks of that were. Really the invincible era and that time kind of epitomized Arsenal's DNA, of attacking teams, but intelligently, not at the detriment of solid defensive capabilities and players that could muck it up physically, that could mix it up physically, that could stand up and be counted in physical duels. I think what Bissouma and Lokonga seem to have is that ball progression with their passing, but also with their ball carrying capabilities, which I think is important because when moves break down from the opposition and you've got someone that can not just win a tackle like a Kante, but then he can pick up the ball and drive. What that does is opposition's midfield and defenses are set up to deal with the attacking midfielders and the attackers. So that overload, what happens is he is drawing in other midfielders, other defenders, and that is opening up gaps for the other attacking midfielders and the strikers to take up. And I think this will help our creativity issue as much, if not more, than getting new creative players. For sure. Without saying I don't want us to get any, and but I think that's what I look at with Lokonga. It's going to be interesting to see where they go next. Will it be a Bissouma? Will it be Neves? Renato? I watched as well. I thought he was Portugal's best player. I think it'd be interesting to see if we go in for him. I think we're looking at inquiring or have lodged one, but I think that would be expensive. We'll see. But moving on regarding the midfield area, this one involves a departure. And I mean, it's looking again, albeit in the opposite direction, that the noises that are being made are the transfer out of Granit Xhaka, as Chris Wheatley has reported here. But he was interviewed, I think, the other day, Xhaka, on his thoughts of a potential protracted move to Rome. He's obviously in Rome at the moment with the Swiss international team for their upcoming game in the Euros in the knockout stages, to which he commented, and I don't know how direct this quote could be, but Arsenal know what I want to do. Sounds very clear. It is very beautiful here, brackets in Rome. I think if he did want to stay, he probably just would say, make up something about not everything you read in the paper being true, or just would decline to comment on the situation. I guess it can be read two ways. There's an element of crypticness to it, but what do you think, James? I think it's all but done.
I'm in the same position. I think Switzerland play France tonight. We're at 8. I think. Do they play? I think they play France tonight at 8. Do they not?
It could be. I need to check. I
think they play France. So if they play France tonight, I'm pretty sure we can confidently say the Swiss are going to be going out unless something mad happens. But you'd expect the French to you wouldn't. But on paper, you'd expect the French to win that game. And I think from looking at what the report said, because he was asked this, I think it was in the not pre-match, but like a day or so before the match begins, like a whole host of different questions. And I think what that quote is 2 different questions, but the journalists have gone and put it together. So I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure the question was about the Rome. I think they asked him, how are you enjoying your time in Rome? Because obviously he's there with the Swiss national team. And I think he said, it is very nice here. And then there was a conjunction between those two, between this question and another question, which was, can you explain more about your Arsenal future? Which he has then said, Arsenal know what I want to do. So then they've just gone, okay, look, same question, spin it around. This is the quote. And I think it was 2 different quotes taken from 2 different questions that they've put together for not clicks, but to drive traffic and interest and stuff. It is the same message, but the way they've done it is putting a bad shade on Granit Xhaka when I could be wrong, but I think it was 2 questions asked and 2 different answers. So I'm not looking too much into it. To be honest, I think Granit Xhaka is a bit of Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. I don't think there's any in between. For me, when we first signed him, I thought he was a very good signing. But now what he did with the armband, I haven't forgiven him. Once you do something like that, okay, fine, you can win the trust back of the fans. You can win that, but you won't be supported. Especially, I want him to do well when he's playing for the shirt. But outside of that, I don't have any attachment to him. So for me, if we can get 20 million pounds, euros, whatever the figure is, and then we can move on from him, I think it's best for both parties. Because as I said, I don't think he's suited to the Premier League. And what we bought him to do the summer we were eliminated out of the Champions League, I think it was in 2016 or 2017, whenever we bought him. We haven't, as you know, we haven't been in the Champions League since. So he hasn't achieved what we bought him to do. The purpose hasn't been fulfilled. So now time to move him on and sign somebody else to get us back to where we want to be.
Yeah, and look, I feel the same about the armband thing, but up until that point, I always defended him because I think one thing you said there, we signed him to do something that historically at Gladbach he wasn't doing. He was not a CDM. I keep stressing this to people, right? Yeah, and it's not just because I play Football Manager and that and the other, right? But people think they're both central midfielders, so their profiles have to be the same. There are a wealth of roles, you know, that you can ask a central midfielder to do, a Liberio, a Mezzala, you know, like you can be a deep line playmaker, you know, a box-to-box midfielder. And the way that Wenger seemed to be deploying him seemed to be, I want you to be my water carrier, my CDM. You know, well, anyone that watched him playing for Gladbach will know that he was much more box to box, and in his younger years as well, in his more formative years, he was much more, you know, of that kind of player. And the thing is, people can think box to box, so he does have to muck in defensively. What's the difference between a CDM? Well, a CDM is far more specialized in their defensive capabilities. You know, they're able to anticipate where the ball is going a lot better. They're able to read the game a lot better. They're a lot more tidy and far more solid in the tackle. You know, basically, their defensive acumen and their defensive attributes are far better than Xhaka's are. And that's no discredit to him, because he never grew up playing or training to be this profile of player. You know, he, you know, wants to be breaking forward more, breaking lines by carrying the ball and making progressive passing. The issue being, you know, in terms of his athleticism, he's got strength. He's strong, but mobility-wise, he's not the most mobile. He's not the most agile or nimble or quickest. And when you have these deficiencies, as well as tackling, reading the ball and anticipation being okay, but not to a standard of a league that moves at a breakneck speed, you know, what the Premier League does, you will get found out. And that wasn't his fault. So he took a lot of criticism. And in the run-up to the armband situation, I always said and maintained, you know, that we needed to bring someone in like Partey, or Partey again is a bit more box to box, but can play as a deeper line midfielder that is defensive. He has that in his locker as well. Someone a bit more specialized next to him to help him out, so that he could just, you know, be the midfielder that progresses the ball with his passing and his ball carrying. He was getting a lot of criticism as a result of these deficiencies and the shortcomings. Managers successively refused to take him out of the team when he was making mistakes, which then kind of made the fans much more in question of what it is he needs to do next before his position comes in question. I think what that kind of did is that became typical of all of our problems, and that wasn't fair on Xhaka.
No.
I think, you know, and I think as well, in the run-up to the armband situation, that was happening a lot. Then things like death threats,
unacceptable
threats to family members, a lot of abuse on social media, which, look, as much as I think it is his time to go, I will never defend.
It's not right. It's not right.
Even if it's my own. So I do understand and appreciate where the frustration came from in that moment. And Xhaka's someone that does wear his heart on his sleeve and isn't necessarily the best or like the most savvy in guarding or controlling his emotions in moments of pressure. And he's always been like that, you know, so it's just who he is, you know. And I think in that moment with the armband, you know, what disappointed me was not how he reacted. It was more how the badge was disrespected. You know, and whilst I wanted to defend him, as I always had, I just couldn't, you know, I can't defend that. You know, the Arsenal armband will and always be the Arsenal armband to me. You know, I grew up watching Wright. You know, I grew up watching Armoury, Vieira, Adams, you know, all these players wearing that armband. And in that moment, their legacy was tarnished and disrespected. I mean, what I wanted to say on that as well is I just think there was no coming back from that. But then also you look at the situation now, the knock-on effect that's led to Oba having the armband. Is he necessarily a good leader? And now he's struggling with form. That's creating more of a talking point for the people that want to slander Oba. Is like, is he even a good player, let alone a good captain? He's got too much pressure on his shoulders. And Xhaka had his best season last season. And when you watch, there's a few games where I watch the player cam where people that do still defend him, that I do know, that create cases, urge me to watch some player cams. I think it was against Aston Villa where we did lose 1-0, where Ryan and him were featured on the player cam. And he's the guy that's talking, marshalling, telling them where to be. For all intents and purposes, he's the leader. But because what he has done, he can never be elevated back to that leader status. And I think that's the main reason for me why we need to draw a line under it, because you can't have a leader in the squad who is a leader in all but name, that can never be given the armband because of what he's did, who is always going to be divisive and polarize the fans based on what he did and his performances and how misunderstood he is as a player for Arsenal. It's time to move on for all these reasons.
I think
I had to go into detail there because I don't want to seem like I'm just slandering him. Like I'm just like what an agenda against him. Like, I think these are all very rational and reasoned
points. They are for sure. I think what you said about us using him in the wrong way. As you said, for Gladbach, for the Swiss national team, he's not a DM. Since we bought him, as you said, with Arsene Wenger, he's always been a DM for Wenger, DM for Emery, and DM for Arteta. So we haven't put him in the best situation, especially as you said, with the tempo of the league. If you're a DM, the way Arsenal, especially how we like to play, goalkeeper, centre back, CDM out. That's how we normally play, or we go from goalkeeper, centre back, right back. It's either we don't normally need to play long, and especially when your DM is getting pressed, he's so prone to make mistakes due to his attributes because it's slow on the turn. He doesn't have that mobility, so he's
incredibly one-footed as well. So if you press the space on his right foot and you force him to turn it into
he's so one-footed. He's so one-footed, and the amount of times that he's made mistakes that, yes, it's his fault, but if he's not in those situations, those mistakes don't happen. And if you're putting him a bit higher up, and for example, if we had Thomas Partey playing that DM role, and you've seen it when Thomas Partey has played CDM, he's made a few mistakes because he's getting used to the league, but the amount of times where he's gone, I'll take the ball just outside of our area, outside the box, then you have, I don't know, a winger and a striker, or two strikers coming to press him. He's broken the line and then we're off because of his attributes that we can do. And I just think it's a bit of a toxic mess that shouldn't really have happened. And I think going back to what you said about leading up to the captaincy issue, I don't think that started with Granit Xhaka. I think that actually started with the likes of William Gallas as well. So you're talking William Gallas, Koscielny, Bellerin, all of these players that have had the honor of wearing the armband that should have never have had that honor. And I'm hoping
we've lowered the bar. For
sure. We've given mediocre players a pedestal to be like, right, you are the captain, you are in charge. When not slandering Hector Bellerin, but if you're giving Hector Bellerin for all of the stuff he's done off the pitch, it's fantastic, but he's not a leader on the pitch. He's just not. He's not. And the sooner we get rid of him, just for both parties, I think is the best decision.
Yeah, 100% agree. The Spain game is obviously finished, absolute scenes. Or is it second half? I'm not sure, but 5-3, crazy. But I think I agree as well. Like that's the larger issue as well that is at play here. I think successively over time, that bar from Vieira. So if you were to look at the captains after him, it's gone down and down gradually until we're here. Where I just don't see enough leaders in the squad. I see some people with leadership qualities, but I mean like a leader of men, like, Adams, Vieira, these guys that just walk through walls, and they just epitomize everything that the club stands for. I mean, look, I'm old school, man. Like, I just think central midfielders and central defenders are the way forward for captains. I mean, I think, the Xhaka situation, I think, definitely compounded that issue as well. But moving on to the next story, and I got a bone to pick with Villa fans because and Aston Villa in general, because I don't know what tree they're barking up. Yeah, I really don't. When they think they can even entertain the idea that they are the sort of club that can come and see what is on our plate, see what's on our table, see what's on the plate of the food on our table, and dare to lift up their hand and try and take what's on our plate, just because Man City are potentially stealing what is on their plate in turn. Yeah. Now, I know, right, that Arsenal Football Club is not where it's been in the past, in current day, present situation. But the notion that Aston Villa, who are readying a second bid, it would seem, according to David Ornstein, who is another very trusted source, that they're readying a second bid. They've had a £25 million bid rejected. He's got a year on his contract, which we're renewing, and all the noises that have been coming out have been positive anyway.
I think he's got 2 years left. I think
£1 million bid is embarrassing, but to ready a second bid that's only a £5 million more. I mean, like, there's just so much about this that just makes me laugh. The midfielder's not for sale. That we're going to reiterate and stress that new contract isn't agreed. They don't seem to be going away. There's so much to unpack with this as well. The first thing that I want to say is, Villa, look, I don't hate or disrespect that football club. But at the moment, just a lot that's happening in their club seems to be being used to chase clout from, basically they're a big club, right? Let's be honest. They've won a lot of league titles, as many as Chelsea. They've won a Champions League in the past, albeit in the old format. And obviously what happened is they fell off. They had a period in the wilderness. They've come back to the Premier League. They've got ambitious owners. They've consolidated their status after missing out the season before last. On the last day of the season, stay in the Premier League, avoiding relegation to kind of mid-table now. And I think what they're thinking is this season, with the ambitious owner that we've got, you look at, they spent 200 million since they've come back. They spent a lot of money, they've got some good players. I think what they're trying to do now is make a marquee signing to make like a signal of intent to show ambition, and I think what they really want to do is, they want to make a statement, and I get that. I respect that, like if I supported Aston Villa, I would expect or want Aston Villa to do the same thing, to put their money where their mouth is. All right. But we are not the guys. Yeah. Like, dude, we are not those guys. Right. We are not that guy. Yeah. You are not that guy. Yeah. Just behave yourselves. Right. Absolutely behave yourselves. Yeah. It's embarrassing. Yeah. That they can think. Yeah. Right. That in spite of our current situation, we remain a Big Six club. We remain the third most successful in England, some way above them. The success, the global fan base, the stadium, everything indicates, for all intents and purposes, there is not a single thing bar their European success, which was a long time ago, that they have on us. Everything else indicates we are a bigger club than them. They cannot measure up to us. Yeah. So go to Tottenham. Go make a signal of intent with their players. Yeah. Because they ain't won a trophy like since when? Barely won any trophies in the Premier League era. They're like they just need to behave themselves. I mean, like, I think there's no legs to this. I'm hearing people saying that, oh, you know, like every player has their price, and if they bring 55 million to the table, let's talk. For me, the same thing I said about Aston Villa, and I'm sorry I'm going on here, but there's just so much I want to get in it. But for me, we need to make the same signal of intent, but for different reasons. We have been known for too long as a club that sells its best players, that always has a price for our best players. You know, there's a litany of them, between, you know, when the Kroenkes first had an involvement with Arsenal, to when they took over more fully, you know, from the last decade, you know, I could name a wealth of some of our players that we sold. RVP being sold to a Premier League rival, winning the league the next season. You know, the whole Guard of Honor thing at the Emirates Stadium. I got too many painful memories that no amount of money can buy or replace. Even if he didn't go there and become, you know, a success. You know, like, for me, too much has gone on. We need to show that we keep our best players, especially our young ones, especially the ones that have come from our academy that we've invested so much time and energy into developing. And look at what he did when he came into the team.
6 months.
6 months, 67% win rate when he was brought into the team. And only City got more points than us when him and Odegaard were brought into the team between our win against Chelsea and when Odegaard came in January. So look, to those fans in my fan base, so look, everyone's entitled to their opinion and I respect it. We shouldn't be putting a price on this fella's head.
No, I'm the same mindset. Like, it does frustrate me. I'll go back to what Mr. K said about there not being, they wouldn't have bidded if there wasn't something out there. For me, because of what Emile Smith Rowe has done in the past, as he said, he's rejected the opportunity to play for Barcelona, to stay at Arsenal, and everything he has said last season in his post-match interviews has not wavered from, I want to be here, I want to play, I want to be a club legend. That's the signals we have gotten. So, as you said, I think it's a bit of okay, look, we've got new owners, we're trying to prove to our fans we're ambitious. We're either trying to prove to Jack Grealish, look, we're trying to build a team around you, stay. They're not going to get Smith Rowe. Or it's the agent being, look, he had a very, very good season. Teams want my client. Give me a better offer. And which I think it is. And that's where I'm not worried. I think it's genuinely just it's a matter of time before Emile signs the contract.
It's when, not if, to me.
Yeah, it's when he signs it and how much money is he going to be offered. And I think for the Aston Villa fans, like, I can understand you wanting Smith Rowe. He's a quality player, but you're pushing where you're at as a club way too high, saying we're on the level of Arsenal, we're going to take your best player. And the likelihood is, no offense, Smith Rowe is going to sign a 5-year deal and you're going to lose your best player to City. And what I really hope happens, fingers crossed, is we go out and spend big. We beat them both times in the season and they finish like 15th and we finish like 4th.
And we finish again because we into context the fact that we finished above them, you know, in the league last season, you know, and look, I get it. Grealish got injured. Yeah, kudos. I give that to you. You know, like, that was unfortunate. The form that he was in last season, you know, all the indications were there that they probably would have finished higher up the table if he didn't get injured. Yeah. But this is the reality. Yeah, big clubs. Yeah, and they are a big club historically. Yeah, but I mean, like, they've only just come into the league, so their squad is not small, but those key men, the quality ones, you know, like if you look at an Ezri Konsa or a Mings or a Martinez, who we sold them, or Grealish, Traore, Watkins, if these key men got injured, one of them, it completely fucks up everything. Excuse my friend, And I get that they've got to make these moves, and that Grealish might go. They've got to appease their fans, you know that. But the reality is this: look, if they're going to lose Grealish, they're going to lose him for 100 million. So if they really think that they're going to come to us given everything that we've just said about this situation, and run up on us and take advantage of the fact that he's renewing his contract, but he has said he wants to, and think that they can try something, well, they better get serious, because, you know, it's even more insulting that it's 25 to 30 million. Like,
yeah, I'm talking 80 million. If you, to be honest, I know you said not every player has its price, but I think if somebody offered me 90 million quid, 100 million quid, I know you say not everyone has their price and we shouldn't be selling our best asset, but we don't know the player Smith Rowe is going to become. We think we know what he's going to become, but if somebody offers me 90 million, they're stupid and I'm taking it, no matter how much I love it, Smith Rowe. So if you want Smith Rowe, come at us with 9 figures, 90 million plus, then we can talk. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, and look, it might only be a year on his contract, but yeah, it's the fact that he's an English player. You know, look, everyone, when we're having to pay 50 million for Ben White and everyone's saying Arsenal are overpaying, what am I hearing? He's an English player. It's an English to English club transfer. There's a tax for these things.
Yeah.
Well, that tax works both ways. If we're selling an English player to an English to English club, what's different between Arsenal and Brighton and Arsenal and Aston Villa? Yeah, okay, the contract situation. But quite frankly, you know, we are the club in terms of our size and our revenue where we're big enough to be able to even just sit on him for a year and watch him leave for free. I know it wouldn't happen, but the thing is, he came for our academy anyway. So
is it only 1 year left? Is it 1 year left or 2 years left? Because I thought it was 2, but running into like, so he's got like a year and like 10 months or something. I could be wrong, but I thought it was 2.
I'll check. But yeah, I think in terms of what I was saying there is, yeah, I mean, you know, this whole English to English tax thing that people speak of, well, you know, it works both ways. The guy has said he wants to stay. You know, these guys, they need to get serious. You know, I think that's the most insulting part of it for me. And obviously, you know, to go back to, you know, what Wayne was saying, you know, only bidding because taking Grealish to Arsenal for the past 6 months, they realised they see us as a downgrade. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of flexing involved. You know, obviously, I know Mr. K's here, and you know, I brought up Tottenham. You know, to which his response was, "Well, you've only won a few FA Cups and not competed in the Champions League." I need to find that comment and bring it back up because I want to respond to that directly, very quickly. But the difference is, right? Let's look at last season when Aubameyang was not sure if he was going to renew his contract or not, and we won the FA Cup, and he did. Yeah. It wasn't the fact that we weren't in the Champions League that made him leave. It was the fact that we won the FA Cup that made him want to stay and believe that we could build on that. Now, if we fast forward to the end of this season with Harry Kane, where you were, let's see, champions in November, bottled that. 2-0 up against Dynamo, bottled that. Let me see what else. You know, you were in the top 4 race after that, bottled that. Top 6 race, bottled that. Carabao Cup final, bottled that. And this is the important part. The Carabao Cup final, you didn't win it, right? And now Kane wants to leave. So look at the difference in strikers. And I don't want to hear no talk about Aubameyang didn't have a great season last season. So where did that get you? You name any club in Europe that wouldn't have wanted to renew Aubameyang's contract based on the form he had the season before that, and every other season since he's been in England. Every season he had in Dortmund, he's been a world-class striker, right? Fact, yeah. So you can compare the situation. He was the club's captain as well, yeah. This is the difference. So, you know, you keep holding this CL stuff. The embarrassing thing about Spurs, right, is these people go on about the Champions League and qualifying for it as if they've done that in the last 2 seasons. Like, when you've qualified for it 25 years in a row, the season you don't qualify it, you stop talking about being a Champions League club, right? But Tottenham is so new to you Yeah, that you got like you've got to hold on to it. Like you've not been in the Champions League places for the last 2 seasons. So what has that left you with? Right, finishing above us in the league, but with no trophy. You know, you're not a United out here. You're not a Liverpool. You're not a Chelsea. Who has the luxury of winning trophies that might be able to finish above us every now and again, and then can back it up with trophies. Whereas we're like, well, you finish above us and have achieved what? Cricket. Yeah, absolutely nothing. So, you know, I'm just going to leave that there. Yeah, this is the difference, and this is why with Villa, I mean, they just need to do better. They need to do better. You know, so yeah, do stop it. You're sounding silly. We've had shit last couple of seasons. This bragging is purely therapy for you. It's not really therapy for me. It's facts. I mean, I'm waking up here and I'm choosing facts. I mean, if you know, Fergie he wasn't famously interviewed by, you know, when he joined United, when he said, I came to knock Liverpool off their effing perch. He didn't just finish above Liverpool a few times in the league, but not win anything to consolidate that power shift. You see how that works? Wenger, Fergie, same thing. The power shift happened when Wenger got his hand on a trophy and was doing this with it. Same with Chelsea, with Wenger and Fergie after that. Same with Pep and all of them after that. And until we see that, until we see that from these Tottenham, the Tottenham establishment, there's no power shift. Period. I've gone on like off topic there, but these are the facts, right? CL final, you didn't win it. Like, you didn't win it. You know? Get over it. We got into a CL final as well. We didn't win it either. Yeah? You know? So, you know, I think, yeah, there's just off tangent there, but this is why I get annoyed with Villa, how everyone are carrying on. You know, like, we get it. We're not where we used to be, but yeah, don't take the piss. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't actually take the piss. Like, it just, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but the last stories that we're gonna wrap up real quickly before the France game. Oh, I have to agree with Babs here. Onana, he looks quality. If anyone that's watched him play for Ajax before his ban, this ban situation has created a situation where we could get him way below market value, along with the fact that, I'll bring that back up again, along with the fact that his contract is expiring. Yet we're going to go for Aaron Ramsdale and pay more for him just because of this English tax I spoke about. And he played for a relegated club. Now, I'm not saying Ramsdale's a bad keeper, but he's definitely not better than Onana.
No, for sure. I think. Well, you think he's been relegated? Sheffield United this season, relegated with Bournemouth last season. So in the last 2 campaigns, he's been relegated twice. I'm not saying that's his fault, but when you're in those types of teams, you face a lot of shots, which makes you look good in comparison to when you're in a big club, a big team, you're facing maybe 10 shots, maybe 5 of them are on target. And for me to be able to judge you based off of your save percentage or your saving ability, which is then inflated by 20 saves a game, whatever it is, like, for me, it doesn't make sense because they're quoting between 20 to 40 million pounds to be a backup. He's not starting quality. If we were bringing in Ramsdale for 10 million quid to sit on the bench as a backup, I'd be all for it. But if you're paying these types of figures for either a second choice goalkeeper or even a first, he's not good enough to be our first goalkeeper. And I think, as I said in the last show, we need somebody really good with their feet. Andre Onana is incredible with his feet. Pay the 9 million quid, sign Onana, and then
just move on with it.
It's not difficult.
You know, I think, you know, the way that I see it as well, you look at the 2 goalkeepers. Do I look at Ramsdale in his current state and see a potential ceiling that is above Leno's in Leno's current state? No. That's the answer to that question. When I look at Onana and I ask the same question, the answer is yes, I do. Both as a shot stopper and also, as you said, in terms of the profile of goalkeeper he is, that is able to play out from the back and help us build up our attacks and be effective on the counter, on the break, on that basis. That's the kind of goalkeeper I've seen in Onana. I've seen him do it at the Champions League level that Ramsdale is yet to play at. You know, I've seen him do it at international level for Cameroon that Ramsdale is yet to play at. So if you're talking about pedigree as well, he's won the league, albeit with Ajax. And I don't want to hear this Farmers League tag and say, yeah, but it is a Farmers League. Ajax is a higher standard of football. You know, playing for Ajax and representing Ajax in the Eredivisie and the Champions League is a higher standard than representing Sheffield United in the Premier League. Okay, you might be playing against higher level opposition at Sheffield United in your league, but when you go to the Champions League and you represent Ajax, you are playing against Europe's creme de la creme. And he's proven at that level that he can mix it up, that he is not out of place. So it's a no-brainer for me. I know that there's this homegrown quota that we've got to adhere to, and that we're getting rid of some players that hit that quota, and that we have to adhere to that and be mindful of it. Let's find other players to do that with. Ramsdale's not the guy. He's not that guy. You are not that guy. I personally think he could go on to become a good keeper. And I was saying at the beginning of the season, this has got a guy I'm watching closely, but this is a jump.
Too big. He's too big for right now. He reminds me of, like, I don't know, it's like a Jack Butland when he was at Stoke. Everyone thought he was the next big thing. And now what's happened? He's playing in the Championship. Like, you know, he had all of the potential. And now it's just not mediocrity, because I don't think Aaron Ramsdale is a bad goalkeeper. But for what he is right now, he's bottom half of the table in the Prem. That's where I see his level at the moment.
Yeah, I know. I agree perfectly. You know, I think, and yeah, like that's not to say that playing at that level consistently and getting better and training and with experience that he can't rise up further. But it's just like, I mean, you know, we spoke about Sanchez earlier, Renato Sanchez of Portugal. Now, everyone saw a few good performances. Was it a Euros or when Portugal won the Euros?
Yeah, it was 2016. I think it was like 18 at the time. So yeah, it would line up. He's 23.
Everyone knows his story. Everyone was raving about him. Bayern Munich saw what they thought was enough at that tournament. Went in, bought him for 80 million euros. How did that work out for them?
Not good.
You know, fast forward a few years, because he's a young player and he was jumping, you know, from one station to another way too quickly and not doing all the in-between stuff to get there more gradually. What happened was he stagnated on Bayern Munich's bench when he needed minutes in game time to be improving and progressing and honing his craft. And what he lacked in that game time stagnated his career. He went to Swansea on loan. And this was before people were looking more seriously into loans. Like now, when we talk about loaning out players, we want to find a team that matches our style of play and our ethos and the way that we play. Back then, it's like if a club wants to take a player on loan, they can have him, providing they promise that they'll give him first team minutes. But Swansea's style of play was completely different to Bayern Munich's. And the role that they were asking him to do was completely different to the role he was asked to do at Portugal, for representing Portugal, his country, and Bayern Munich. That didn't work out either. He got Premier League experience there. After 12 appearances, they benched him, barely played him again, bar a few sub appearances. And his career went to the wilderness. And we're only talking about him now again as a good player. And this is the kind of cautionary tale that I look at with Ramsdale. It's like, you're not looking around at who is in your current squad and thinking, can this guy displace Leno? You're thinking about a homegrown quota, and you're willing to overpay for a goalkeeper, I mean, if it was like an outfield player who's a wing back or a winger, centre backs don't get changed so much. Maybe a central midfielder who then can slowly be blooded in with substitute appearances and cup games, you know, because you don't sub your goalkeepers, you don't sub your defenders, yeah? Then it's different. But this guy's a goalkeeper, you know? Either you're going to have to start him and play him, which you're not going to do, or you're not. And he's just going to sit on the bench and he's cost you 20, 30 million because you've paid the English tax and paid the English to English club tax as well.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me when Onana is available, has more pedigree, more experience, is better already.
Oh, huge better. Plus, I think
has a higher potential ceiling as well.
Yeah, I think for Onana as well, everyone, because of how established he's been in the Ajax team for so long, everyone thinks he's like 28, 29. He's 25 years old. And for a goalkeeper now, you look at Neuer, you look at Buffon, they're playing high level first team till 37 to 40. So you're buying him. You might as well say, if you keep him, you have a decade's worth of a quality ball playing goalkeeper. It's for 9 million quid. It's no brainer.
And yeah, I think this is a lot of people are saying to me, look, don't worry about these things, because for me, it's like you go out and you get done the most important things you need to get done first. And also you get the easiest transfers to do first. So a lot of people are saying to me, don't worry about Basuma. We know he wants to only join Arsenal because he's an Arsenal fan. All of the noise that he's making, he's holding out for Arsenal. We know he's there, so we're just leaving him there. And it's like the same thing with this Onana thing. Well, it's like, well, it's not going to cost us a great deal. We know we're flush with cash at the moment, you know, so we'll just leave him there. Like, I would be the opposite. I would just be like, just get it done. Like, just don't mess around with these things. Don't leave it to chance or fate, because other clubs might wake up to how much of a bargain buying Onana is. And then a club, all it takes is a club with European football to come in at the moment.
He's gone, right? Yeah, I know.
So I think it's just strange. It's just strange, but I think we will get Onana. I think maybe the Ramsdale thing, again, clubs play their agent game as well. They will act as if they're in negotiations with other clubs to buy other players because they can't agree fees with selling clubs. So then the selling club's like, shit, we over-milked, we over-egged it a little in trying to get as much money as possible. And then eventually they come back in and then they're like, that's the offer, take it or leave it. Or we're going to buy this guy. We've got terms and everything agreed with him. And we'll just take him. We're not going to get taken to the cleaners over you and the price that you're trying to quote us. So maybe there's a bit of that to it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I have to agree with Babs on that. It's just baffling, you know, baffling. At least your club will do some proper business. Our chairman will leave it till the last minute and buy dross. Yeah, and look, it's this. Look, we've had that in the past. We have had that. We've gone through those windows. We've been here before. You know, we're professionals. You know, like I've been alive for the George Graham days and the days before that. You know, like where there was so much wrong. And yeah, it looks like I don't want to back these Kroenkes because they can never be forgiven in my eyes. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
yeah. For me, I can't. Nah, like, to be honest, unless you deliver Arsenal Football Club a Champions League trophy, you will never be forgiven.
You need to speak to my mate Gunner Express. He said exactly the same thing, man. But yeah, he said exactly the same thing. Some people are saying a league title that would do it. For me, there is no forgiveness because you've allowed it to get to this state where Aston Villa think they can take the piss, and that was avoidable. You know, like I like the last 10 years and what I've seen, I can never forgive the Kroenkes for it ever. Like they could deliver a Premier League and a Champions League double, and you know it would take more than that because what they'll probably do is they'll be like, right, we've got to the mountaintop now. Now we can just go back to taking the piss again. I know what they're like. That's what they're like. That's what they're always going to be like. They're always going to be like that. They're always going to leverage us to take money out and invest in their American sports franchises. They're always going to take the piss, you know? So, yeah, that's how it is for me. Yeah, I think that could be all of the stories that we've got today. Let me just check. I think I've got a feeling I've missed out one.
Hector Bellerin?
Yeah, I think that was it. No, that was obviously, we've covered that. Although there was the part about Lacazette's future. Might speak about that for a bit, but yeah, that was it. Inter Milan want Hector Bellerin. Apparently, they have sounded out his representatives to inquire about the potential of doing a deal for Hector Bellerin. This is in lieu of Hakimi. For all intents and purposes, looks to have boarded a plane which was meant to be going to London, to the west side of London, and somehow the plane ended up going to Paris. Whoops.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chelsea fans. But the Chelsea fans as well, they were the ones throwing the shade as well about this whole Buendia transfer, you know, and I've spoken about it enough times. We've got 3-4 players that play in the positions he plays in. We weren't going to break the bank for this guy. And obviously Villa now knew that Grealish, that there was solid interest there and that they couldn't risk missing out on him. So that's why they paid more money up front. And we weren't prepared to do that. And everyone's saying they outbid us and that we don't have money and that they've got more pulling power than us. But we bid 50 million and had that accepted for Ben White. And there are talks of his personal terms being up to 120,000 a week, and he's 23 years old and has only played one season in the Premier League. But we've got no pulling power, and we got no money either. So yeah, Chelsea. You know, just want to give you a special mention. Even the better of teams lose out on their top targets, and you know, Chelsea's ownership have probably done the same thing. We've already got Azpilicueta in this position. We've already got James. We were only shopping for someone who would have added to the squad, not come in and necessarily been a first-team player. And we need a centre forward more. So they've done the same math we did.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to banter Chelsea fans. Obviously, missing out on Hakimi, he's a quality player. Going to Paris again, either Chelsea or Paris Saint-Germain is. You're going to end up at a good squad anyway. So, yeah, it is nice to banter Chelsea, but I know what they're going to say. Well, we just won a Champions League, so...
Okay, you just won a Champions League, so it should be even easier to attract one of the best players from a club in the Italian league. Yeah, they just won the Italian league, but they have their own financial problems.
Yep.
So they need to sell. And... well, I mean, what PSG and you? There's like, you know, what Abramovich? You know, he's no slouch. He's not.
Oh, yeah, he's not a mug.
So,
he's
do I sit here and say that PSG is a more attractive proposition than Chelsea? No. I mean, Hakimi's clearly of Moroccan descent, which has a massive affinity with the French culture. You know, due to the history between the two countries. So he probably saw an opportunity to go France as better for his personal life than coming to London, you know, and it happens. But, you know, loads of people, what I get angry about or defensive is loads of people try to spin that Buendia story into something it wasn't. And this is why I'm coming back at them today to be like, well, I could play the same game, but, you know, and the even funnier thing is that this could potentially help us in our plight to get rid of some dead wood. So
yeah, I hope so. I mean, well, what they're talking about doing, this is the only thing that I don't like, because obviously we know how cash-strapped Inter Milan are, because they're selling their assets. They sold Hakimi to PSG for, I think it's like 60 million, 70 million pound, a lot of money, but then they're still needing to sell more. And the two biggest assets are Lautaro Martinez and Lukaku. Lukaku, even though he said, I'm happy Inter, I want to stay, you never know. Chelsea might end up actually getting Lukaku, which is, again, a really good signing. But
you know what? Martinez is being slept on as well.
Yeah, he is. He's a very good player, and I think for his age, he is very, very, very good player. But I think for me, with the Hector Bellerin deal, with what they're saying is they want a loan with an option, not an obligation. That's silly. And for me, where I see him, to be honest, I think there's only two clubs he's going to go to. It's either Inter Milan, which I don't think is highly likely, or there's Atletico Madrid.
No, there's been other interests as well earlier in the window. Villarreal, because they qualified for the Champions League. Armoury has inquired and would like him, and Betis as well.
Yeah, I think the Betis isn't. I don't think they can afford it. And when I say
he's a Betis fan though, Bellerin.
Yeah, no, he is for sure. But I think it's in the restrictions of if I see him realistically, the teams that are going to stump up the cash. Yes, Villarreal maybe, but I think Atletico Madrid, simply because of I think Trippier will go to United, then that will leave the door for Bellerin to go back to Spain and be with Atletico. So I see him going to Atletico, and for me that would be the ideal place because we're not selling him to a rival, and I think Atletico are willing to give the money, not being like, look, we can loan him, but that's about it. I think it's right, what do you want? 20 million? Okay, we'll give you 18. Here you go. And we'll be like, right, okay. So that's where I see it. We keep doing this with valuable players. We loan them out when we're looking to sell. We loan them out. They have a bad season. Their price goes from here to here. We do it again, and it just keeps dropping. You see, it's just like
the price go there down, but then you struggle to sell them as well because of that bad season. And it gives them a vantage point to running down their contract because it's another year off of their contract that you're not getting back. So yeah, I think there's definitely enough interest in Bellerin to not lead a loan, even with an obligation to purchase. Because I don't know how clubs work. Like if there's an obligation to purchase, but you don't have that money in your bank now, are these Kroenkes going to bankroll that 20 million and then be like, well, we know we're getting it next season. We'll give you the 20 million now. They don't. Maybe that's what it comes down to. And I just think if there's enough interest in the player from parties that are willing to pay the money now, we should be 100% funneling them in that direction. Oh my goodness, Switzerland have just scored.
No way. Again,
I shit you not.
I'm not watching the game, but
Switzerland have just scored. It's the fair of it.
My dad's watching it downstairs, so I can hear the whole commentary and the whole crowd going nuts. But
it's crazy. But yeah, I think Bellerin. I think we should hold out for clubs that are willing to pay for him. And it would be nice as a touch if it was Inter Milan, though. In spite of this whole talk the Chelsea fans have had for them to lose out on a target and that result in us by getting 20 million from the proceeds and then improving. But yeah, a few things before I go. I mean, I think Mr. K has touched on. I think what I wanted to touch on with this as well, right? The one thing I have to say about Levy is when he says the price is the price is the price. And I respect that. We seem to have been a soft touch in the market for too long now. So what you were saying about this loan with no obligation, like Levy would just be like, bye. The talks are now officially over, not leaving out an olive branch or anything, just for the fact that they took the piss. He is stern, very firm in his negotiation stance. We all remember when he kept hold of Modric longer than Modric wanted to be kept hold of. Bale had to wait for a move until the money was right. And sometimes that works at a detriment of keeping a player in the squad that is not there anymore. But at least he's got the gumption to be like, if I said the price is the price, it's the price. We need to firm up a bit now. We need to learn that if other clubs are doing this, why can't we? These are the terms, take it or leave it. I do know that we're trying to sell players and that can create a need to get rid of players, and that might think clubs can exploit that situation, and that's the law of economics. That's fine. That I can live with. But in the longer term, once we have done this squad rebuild, and we need to be. That's how we need to be. And I think it's the same with Smith Rowe. I'm going to put this up here, and I'm going to go and enjoy the Euros now. I mean, was there anything that you wanted to close on that Bellerin situation?
No, I mean, you said everything I said everything I wanted to say. You've touched on different things. I just think to wrap up as a whole, I think we need to be a better club when it comes to selling. Like we need to be more like Liverpool, getting like 30, close to like 25 million for Rhian Brewster, like ridiculous. Same for like Dominic Solanke. He's got like 20 million from Bournemouth. He didn't kick a ball. So yeah, I think we went over a lot of topics, and fingers crossed Hector Bellerin leaves and we can get some money in.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's looking more positive in these windows at the moment. As I said, all will never be forgiven with me and the Broncos. Too much has happened now. And it shouldn't have come to this for them to pull their finger out. But everything that seems to be happening now, not just with player sales and the profile of players that we are showing interest in, but also the backroom setup, the changes there. I think we announced a new head coach today as well.
For the women's team. Yeah.
Oh, that was a women's team, was it? Okay, yeah. That's, but I think we're looking to make a lot of changes in that as well. So things are looking positive. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to walk the league or top four or anything next season, but at least there is a bit more of a concerted effort to get Arsenal back to where it needs to be, where it deserves to be. And long may that continue, man. Let's see where that takes us. I hope that we have the window that we deserve. And on the closing note, just to say this, Levy's negotiation skills have more backfired than succeeded. He will cough up 5 million more to get Grealish. Yeah, he wouldn't. I remember that as well. They could have had Grealish for 25 million. But yeah, that was embarrassing. Well, hindsight's a wonderful thing, obviously, but yeah, look, guys, I'm gonna head off now. James, it's been good to have you on. Looking to make it a bit more of a regular thing as well, and to obviously work closely with the Armoury. And I'm gonna go and enjoy the Euros now. I mean, can Switzerland pull off the upset?
We'll see.
We will see. Mr. K, pleasure as always. Everyone, don't forget to hit the likes and the subscribes. FTB is going places next season. And we will be back tomorrow with all of the latest Arsenal stories. Peace out, guys. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Oi.